Hey, good morning. This is Jenny, and every day is a new day. I have been working on my number one self-care habit of all the habits I've listed that I need to change. I had to focus on number one, and number one for me is sleep, so that the rest of the day goes great. And last night, for the first time in I don't know how many years, I slept through the entire night. I usually wake up and use the restroom at least once, sometimes twice, but maybe I'm dehydrated. I was so happy to wake up and realize I slept the whole night through. So I will call that a win. Thank you so much for tuning in. I shared last week the chapter reveal for my upcoming book, Every Day is a New Day, a story of faith, which of course is my theme. Every day is a new day. Really love a fresh start, and I love that I can have one every single time I open my eyes. And I want to say thank you for those of you who commented with so much encouragement and keep going. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Please do share parts of that story. Some of you could really relate to what I was sharing in my chapter reveal. So more to come on that. But I promised that this week we would talk about how I actually finished the book. So, so once I had the first chapter done and I had a bit of an outline and I had a reason to share that chapter and receive some responses, it was very motivating. And I have mentioned before, I've thought about writing a lot more than I wrote. And some of the things I would do is I would picture, like, where would I be when I was writing? So in my imagination, I thought, okay, I would like look at a coffee shop and think, okay, I'm going to get up early. I'll go to the gym. I will then head to that coffee shop. I'll order, coffee. I'll have a particular scarf on, a journal, a fancy pen, my laptop, and then I would write, and then head back home, shower, and then get to work. So I had this very specific coffee shop in downtown Aiken, South Carolina in mind. I did not write there once. And then when we moved to Edgefield, actually, by the time we moved to Edgefield in November of last year, most of the book was written, but it wasn't complete. So there's a coffee shop in the town square. We live like right off of the historic town square in Edgefield, South Carolina. So I imagine this one particular coffee shop that I would again bring my laptop and I'd sit in this booth and I would order, a molasses cookie, which is my favorite cookie that they make. And that's where I would write. I would imagine myself going to the library. So I like thought and imagined myself writing. And I didn't write in any of those places, but I think the fact that I thought about it a lot was keeping me motivated. But what actually happened was I hired a coach. I hired an executive coach to help me with several goals that I had at the time and some things I wanted to do for myself. I wanted to create a business plan. I wanted to create a content strategy. I wanted to finish my writing my book. I wanted to be more consistent with podcasting and how I, present myself. So I always have a lot of things I'm doing at the same time, but I get overwhelmed. And I know as a coach, having a coach helps me stay organized. And, I would set every 2 weeks, I would meet with my coach and I would set the assignments for myself. And then, of course, it was up to me to be accountable and show up for myself. And of course, oftentimes it would be the night before, or it would be, the week, a few days before a meeting with my coach. She'd be looking for my like status report of how things were going that I assigned myself. And one thing I assigned myself, actually every 2 weeks was some Jenny time because I can get very consumed with all of the things I want to do. And then I don't leave time like for myself or for family. I fill it with a lot of activities and moving forward. So having a coach where I could assign myself and somebody to say, that sounds like a lot. Are you sure that that is reasonable? Are you sure that that is something that you can accomplish, that you're going to feel good about, that you still have time for leisure and time for fun and time for rest. So it was really helpful. So my coach is Coach Dr. Darlene Chambers. She actually has a limited edition podcast out right now. So I would love for you, if you want to tune in, I'm going to read it off here so I get it right. It's a limited edition podcast, just a few weeks. And it's called I'm Just a Country Song with Country Girl Dr. D, and then music artist Blue Waters as well. So I'm Just a Country Song with Country Girl Dr. D and Blue Waters. And in finding a coach, I found a coach who has a lot of experience that I have as well. So she worked many, many decades in organizational communication, organizational learning, learning and development for big companies. I've worked for very large technology vendors. I've been in learning and development for a long time. We had both actually gone through the same, she has many certifications and a PhD. So I aspire, she has something I aspire to do, which is achieve a doctorate at some point. So, if you are looking for a coach, it's often good to find somebody who is relatable in terms of background, but also has reached maybe something that you aspire to as well, because I have a lot of respect for her. She's very, very professional. And so, showing up for with her, I always had a very professional appearance, but also, everything I produced through the course of working with her. Like I taught a course and she helped me to formulate a case study around it so I could showcase the work. But yes, it was like being in school sometimes with what she helped me with. But that is how I wrote my book, because if it was up to me, I would have still been daydreaming and finding the right coffee shop. I would have been finding the right space or the right outfit to wear. Like active in my imagination, I was writing, but actually doing the writing took some accountability and a system, like every 2 weeks to have a writing deadline. So I was able to give myself the deadline, and I was able to um, then accomplish that goal. And where I literally wrote wrote my book is I wrote it in different pockets of time that I had throughout a week. So again, if I was going to meet with her on a Friday evening, it was often Thursday night or Wednesday night or Tuesday night leading up to that I was making that progress. And it was when I was in bed with my laptop. It was when I was on the couch or in a cozy chair. I wrote a lot of it by typing, but I also found that recording a few of the chapters, I tried out transcription. So I used AI and transcription, and then realized how much I had to rewrite, because I started every sentence off with so. So I just did it again. I had to go in and actually rewrite many paragraphs that were too casual, but it was a good experiment to see how transcription was. A lot of words showed up, and that was very motivating. But I think what I had narrated took the longest for me to edit, as opposed to what I was writing directly into the computer. So that is how I finished my book. I had set a schedule, and I had some accountability and support to help me meet my own goals and my own deadlines. So that is what I have this week on how to meet any obstacle. I was able to accomplish a lot more during the time working with Coach Dr. D than I was on my own, because again, I did have someone to bounce my ideas off, keep me focused when I wanted to try something new, sign up for some new program. She's like, this is where you're focused right now. You set these specific goals in this time frame, and you're not doing anything new until after January, until after this book is written. So it was really helpful. So for you, I hope that if you have some big goals, or you have an obstacle and you're looking for some support, that you find the accountability and support or group or a coach or someone to help you. You set the goals and you stay accountable to your dreams, but somebody's waiting there with a stopwatch to say, hey, you said you wanted to achieve these things during this time block. And it gets things done. So thank you for listening. And next time we are going to talk about the publishing process. So once the book was written, once I actually finished that, then how I was able to make a decision on how to publish. There are a lot of things to share around that journey. And stay tuned. I look forward to talking to you next week. Take good care. And of course, always remember that God is lovingly watching over you. God is lovingly watching over me. Um, my daughter was asking me yesterday, our oldest was asking yesterday. The book is Every Day is a New Day, a story of faith. And would somebody who is not of faith be deterred by having that in the description? And my thought is that on that, I'll just answer that to you here, is that many people are spiritual without having a practice that they practice religiously. And I understand that. And I think that, there is many people have a concept of something that is greater than themselves. And certainly in recovery, that is what I have come across a lot of people who have a concept of a power greater than themselves, a higher power, that which is greater, that's not necessarily named something or that is religious. So that was my response to her. So I'll share that with you as well, although I am religious and Catholic, obviously. Okay, have a fantastic, fantastic day and take good care.